Most people in America are familiar with what a pastor is and is supposed to do from the pulpit. A pastor is supposed to give you passages from the word of whatever version of the Lord that you read, and then you are supposed to help people to understand the exegesis or the hermeneutics of that particular orientation of the Bible, whatever version it might be that you're using in your church, whether it's the Message or whether it's the NIV or whether it's the ESV, which is God's preference at this time, and I don't know why. But openly, the other truth we have to face is that not every chapter that was found in the Dead Sea Scrolls and others were around to put in that verse, that work. The Catholic Bible is different than the Christian Bible, and the Jewish Bible is known as the Talmud or something else, and openly it's not even a full Bible from a Christian point of view. So how do we know what works of the Lord are important, and how do we know what we're supposed to do? But the truth is that a minister is someone who speaks to the person's soul. He is the person that's supposed to patch them up, put them back together, and put them back on God's path. The problem that we have with the telling and the retelling of The Conjuring is that the pieces that are missing from that concept of doing the documentary behind the film and of the film is that we're missing the part of her faith. That it is her faith in the Lord, her belief in Jesus' blood, that keeps her safe in a truly demon-infected world. Not only in the human realm of demons, in terms of people who like to do harm for the kicks of it, for the thrill of it, for the power of it, for the vanity of it, for the gluttony of it, for the greed of it, but also that the 7 deadly sins are involved in every realm. That there are deadly sins involved in heaven. And those deadly sins do involve us. But at the same time, there are demons in the spirit world that people tap into in the thrill of it. And that we can see in some of the eyes of the people that were involved in that documentary. Now, I was encouraged to watch the whole thing, to give commentary to a company. And I am being encouraged by other people in different industries to give them assistance so they can know what to do to protect their businesses. It is the form of risk management that I take. Now, what I gain from access from God's house comes about because of my submission. But at the same time, I've been so abused by men and women in this world that God has said, I've had enough of this. And the deliverance of COVID was not just because of things done to me, but it's things done to human beings all around the world. I want to ask you a direct question as a pastor, as a minister, and technically as a priest of the pagan order. What I want to know is, what do you know about Melchizedek? What I want to know is, what do you know about the Bible? What I want to know is, have you read the Quran? I want to know, did you read the Vedas? Because I'm very jealous of that, and I want to do that, because it is another work on the Lord. Have you spoken to anyone who wrote or investigated the Dead Sea Scrolls? Do you know anything at all about the Lord? So when I'm asking these questions, I'm asking you as a person who's supposed to have a soul. Do you have a soul for the Lord's house? Are you living in the light? Or are you spewing hate? Are you building abuse networks? Because I want to ask you then the next part question. Are you human trafficking someone? In other words, are you taking their private, confidential information of their body of any kind that is not yours to access? And are you privately or publicly giving it out? Because if you are, then you're human trafficking someone. At the same time, if you're talking all the time about someone's genitalia, what it is, what it isn't, and have a curiosity to see someone else's without having earned that right through loving kindness or affair or what we often know as chemistry, to do that, then you're perverted in your mind. At no time do you have the right to investigate someone's internal organs, to check them on some concept that they're talking about. At no time did you have the right to take someone out of their clothes and shave them. That is immoral in front of God's house. How dare you do that? When I talk about these things, these are very real things happening across America and around the world in human trafficking of someone's rights to their own bodies. And anymore, they're not having them put up a fight, they're drugging them, they're putting shit in their water that they buy at the store, they get employees from retail establishments to do this and more, and then those employees think they're golden. You're not golden. You just put your whole friggin' company in $1 million or $1 billion lawsuit. And maybe your company across America is only worth $1 billion. Or maybe it's a global company where they have hyakuen shops across Japan. A hyakuen is $1. So let me explain to you. You have failed yourself. You have failed yourself to risk yourself, not all. You fail yourself because you're living in the shadows, seductively, seducing someone. No, you're not. You're not seducing anyone. You are soliciting people for information. You are lying to yourself about hacking someone's life. Why? Your life is going by. You are missing out on your entire life story because you're so busy living outside of God's glory. You are so busy working in the satanic realm of vanity, vice, violence, vandalism, that you can't even be found on the track to God. So let me ask you, what information are you trafficking? You see, in the business world, we sort of have a human trafficking, information trafficking concept called networking. But in that layer of work, in the small business world, in the medium to large business aspects of doing work and vending products and services for our companies to build businesses and whatnot across the world, we have the permission on behalf of our companies to behave a certain way because we are employed by them every day. At the same time, in the small business world, we have permission usually based on people we've met who are looking to network and looking to sell their services and sell their products and sell their wares in the communities in which we live. So right there's permission to talk about business and professional lives. But when it comes to personal lives, when it comes to private lives, when it comes to sex lives, who gave you the permission to traffic that information? If someone is out loud and proud, like, say, a person on television like Ellen or Rosie O'Donnell, good for them. But how much of their story was real, how much of their stories were contrived, and how much of their stories are not really staying alive because they have to live in the limelight of fame? And with fame comes vanity. With fame comes gluttony. With fame comes greed. With fame comes a lot of sins, like the 7 deadly sins they talk about in Catholicism and other religions, even mine, around the world. But I'm asking you, what are you doing right now at this time to live yourself in the light so that the blessings that you don't want to ever believe in your lifetime, right? I mean, we are raised to live in the darkness, right? We are raised to live in evil. We are raised to live in selfishness. We are raised to live in vanity, vice, violence, vandalism, and all the vendettas. Are we? Or are we raised in America to do the best that we can? Are we raised in America to do the best we can for ourselves, for our family, because it's only that level of quality and service that gets us paid? So let me ask you, who are you living for? Are you living for you today? Or are you living in some other monthly attitudinal world that this month I'm going to do this, next month I'm going to do that, the next month I'm going to do this? Now, maybe you're a traveler, maybe you're an adventurer, maybe you're someone who likes to jump out of winged airplanes like Evie Pomporis, or maybe you're that hot little girl who just thinks she's so hot she's got to have a red truck to make her look like a hick on wheels. But here's the deal, you end up being a bitch on wheels if you're harassing someone that you spent intimate time talking to. So let's be clear, there's a difference between harassment and stalking and mobbing, and then there's just a difference between bullying and you being out of time in your relationships because you used them up and you didn't think about your responsibility or your accountability to them.